After my motorcycle accident, my son and his wife coldly declared right from my hospital bed, "We won't take care of you. Our cruise is more important." I just smiled, hired a professional caregiver, and that same day I stopped the $4,500 monthly payments they'd been receiving for 3 years. A few hours later, my phone exploded. 73 missed calls from them. They had no idea the real consequences were only beginning. My name is William Garrison. I'm 58 years old and I live in Tucson, Arizona. Let me back up and tell you how I got to this point. I deployed to the Gulf War in 1991, came back and worked my tail off for 35 years building an automotive repair business from nothing. Started with one bay in a rented garage, ended up with 4 locations across Arizona. Sold the whole operation 3 years ago for $1.8 million. Not bad for a kid from the wrong side of Phoenix who barely finished high school before Uncle Sam shipped him overseas. After I sold the business, I figured I'd earned the right to tinker with classic cars in my garage. Currently working on a 1967 Mustang that needs everything. Engine rebuilds keep my hands busy and my mind sharp. Always believed family meant everything. Turns out I was dead wrong about that. My son Michael wasn't always the man he is today. When he was little, he'd wait for me to get home every night, engine oil under my fingernails, wanting to hear about every carburetor I'd rebuilt that day. We'd spend weekends in the garage together. I taught him how transmissions work, how to read engine sounds, how every component has a purpose. Kid was curious, respectful, eager to learn. That all changed when he married Sarah 3 years ago. Beautiful woman, I'll give her that. Always dressed like she stepped out of a magazine. Perfect makeup, designer everything. But there's something cold underneath all that polish. I spotted it the first time Michael brought her to Sunday dinner, the way her eyes swept over my apartment calculating, the way she steered every conversation toward money, investments, what I planned to do with all that cash from selling the business. Michael works as a sales manager at the Ford dealership, pulls in about $4,200 a month. Decent money for a young guy, but Sarah had bigger plans. Within 6 months of their wedding, they started hinting around. Their apartment was too small for starting a family. Wouldn't it be nice to have a real house with a yard? Didn't I own that 3-bedroom place in the foothills? I made my first mistake right there. Signed that house over to Michael without thinking twice. $485,000 worth of real estate, just handed it over. Told myself I was helping my boy get established, giving him something I never had at his age. I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment closer to town. Smaller, but it had a 2-car garage for my projects. Wasn't good enough, apparently. About 6 months after they moved in, Michael called with a sob story. The house expenses were more than he'd expected. Property taxes, insurance, maintenance costs. Could I help out temporarily until they got on their feet? Started sending them $4,500 every month. Just temporary, Michael said. That was 3 years ago. The money never stopped flowing. Sarah quit her real estate job 2 months after my checks started arriving. Why work when father-in-law was covering everything? She joined some fancy fitness club, started getting weekly spa treatments, filled that house with furniture that cost more than most people make in a month. Michael said nothing, just went along with it like he'd won the lottery. I saw my granddaughter Emma more than I saw her parents. Sweet kid, 12 years old, smart as a whip. She'd call wanting to come over and help with the Mustang. We'd work on the engine together and she'd ask questions that reminded me of Michael at that age. Through Emma, I heard about the expensive vacations, the new Escalade I'd helped them buy, the designer clothes Sarah collected. But they were family. Family helps family, right? The accident happened on a Saturday morning in October. I was riding with my veterans group to a charity event in Flagstaff. Beautiful day, clear roads, perfect riding weather. I was thinking about the transmission rebuild waiting in my garage when some college kid in a pickup truck ran a red light doing 45. Never saw it coming. Woke up in University Medical Center with pain shooting through my whole right side. 3 broken ribs, concussion, leg busted up pretty good. Doctor said I was lucky the bike took most of the impact. Didn't feel lucky lying there with every breath feeling like someone was stabbing me with a knife. Called Michael from my hospital bed, hands shaking as I dialed. Could barely talk above a whisper because breathing hurt too much. Told him what happened, where I was, asked if he could come. I'm at the gym, Dad. This a bad time, we're supposed to meet Sarah's friends for brunch in an hour. 4 hours later, they finally showed up. Both of them looking annoyed, like I'd interrupted something important. Michael stood at the foot of the bed, hands in his pockets. Sarah stayed by the door, checking her phone every 30 seconds. "How you feeling?" Michael asked, but his heart wasn't in it. "Like I got hit by a truck," I said. "Because I got hit by a truck." Sarah looked up from her phone, irritated. "Well, you're obviously okay since you're talking. They've got nurses here, professionals. That's what hospitals are for. Doctor says I'll need help for a few weeks," I said, watching their faces. "Physical therapy, getting around, basic stuff. We can't do it." Sarah cut me off. "We're leaving for a Caribbean cruise next week. Everything's already booked and paid for. We've been planning this for months." I stared at her. "I was in an accident." "We understand that," she said, crossing her arms. "But our vacation is more important than your recovery. You'll be fine here. They have people for this kind of thing." I looked at Michael, waiting for him to say something. Anything. Tell his wife that his injured father came before cruise ship buffets. He met my eyes for maybe half a second, then looked away. "Sarah's right, Dad. We can't cancel now, but you're in good hands." The room went quiet except for the beeping machines and my own breathing. I looked at these two people standing there and something clicked into place. They weren't family. They were customers. I was just the bank they'd been making regular withdrawals from for 3 years. Sarah was already heading for the door. "We should go. Still need to pack." "Feel better, Bill." Michael hesitated, guilt flickering across his face. Then he followed his wife out, leaving me alone with the monitors and the taste of betrayal. Lay there for a long time after they left, staring at the ceiling. Every breath hurt, every movement sent pain through my side, and I thought about $4,500 a month for 36 months. $62,000 just handed over, plus the house, plus the car, plus all the little emergencies over the years. Call it $700,000 total. They couldn't spare 1 week. Not 1 week to help the man who'd given them everything. Something cold settled in my chest right then. Not anger exactly. Something more focused, more permanent. Next morning, a nurse came in to check my vitals. Nice lady, probably my age, gentle hands. She saw me staring at my phone showing 23 missed calls from Michael and Sarah. "Family troubles?" she asked quietly. Showed her the call log. Told her they'd left me here to go on a cruise. Watched her face change from sympathy to disgust. "You have people who can help when you get discharged?" That question settled it for me. No, I didn't have people. I had a son who'd chosen margaritas over his father's broken ribs. But I had something else. I had money, and I had enough self-respect left to stop being a victim. Called a home care agency that afternoon. They could provide a professional caregiver for $3,200 a month. Full-time care, medication management, physical therapy assistance. "When can someone start?" I asked. "Day of discharge if you need it." I need it. Her name was Patricia Reynolds, former Army medic with Gulf War experience, 20 years in private care, specialized in post-trauma recovery. When I mentioned my service record, her whole tone changed. Professional respect between veterans. She understood what duty meant, what loyalty looked like. Next call was harder. Pulled up my banking app, stared at the automatic transfer I'd set up 3 years ago, $4,500 every month. First of the month, regular as clockwork. Money I'd earned through 35 years of 12-hour days and busted knuckles just flowing away because I'd been stupid enough to think generosity bought loyalty. Cancelled the transfer. Blocked any future payments to Michael's account. Took about 3 minutes to undo 3 years of being a fool. Phone started ringing immediately. Declined the call. Rang again, declined. Text messages flooded in. "Dad, there's an issue with the money transfer. Call me back. This isn't funny. We have bills due." Set the phone to silent and turned it face down. Let them panic. Let them figure out what it feels like when someone you count on just disappears. Thought about Sarah's face in that room. The cold calculation when she said their vacation was more important than my recovery. No apology, no guilt. Just irritation that I'd been inconvenient enough to get myself nearly killed. Thought about Michael standing there silent, letting his wife make decisions about his own father. The kid I'd raised to stand up for what's right, to understand loyalty, to be a man. All those lessons, all those years in the garage teaching him about engines and integrity, and he couldn't even tell his wife to show some basic decency. Days passed in physical therapy, pain medication, and watching my phone buzz with increasingly desperate calls I didn't answer. The ribs would heal in 6 weeks. The leg needed maybe 10. Concussion symptoms were already fading. I'd be fine with proper care. Patricia came by 2 days before discharge. Wanted to meet her patient, discuss the care plan. Straightforward woman, all business but kind enough. We talked about apartment modifications, therapy schedule, what I'd need for recovery. Found out she'd been a combat medic in Desert Storm, knew what it meant to have someone's back when things got tough. Family support situation? She asked. There isn't any, I said. She just nodded. Military veterans don't need long explanations. Then we'll make sure you have everything covered. Day I got discharged, my phone showed 127 missed calls, 89 of them from Sarah. The voicemails had gone from confused to angry to desperate. Deleted them all without listening. Patricia picked me up in her sedan, helped me get settled. As we drove away from the hospital, I saw Michael's Escalade in the visitor parking lot. The $35,000 vehicle I'd helped him buy, he was probably inside looking for me. Too late? Week later, I was settling into my recovery routine. Physical therapy twice daily, medications on schedule, Patricia making sure I ate right and followed doctor's orders. Professional care beats family drama every time. Found out Patricia had seen plenty of combat situations where people either had your back or they didn't. No middle ground. She understood loyalty wasn't just a word you threw around. Then Michael showed up at my apartment. Patricia answered the door, polite but firm. Mr. Garrison is resting and not receiving visitors right now. I'm his son. This is family business. Mr. Garrison left specific instructions. I'm sorry. Could hear Michael's voice getting louder in the hallway, then footsteps walking away. Patricia came back. Didn't say anything, just brought me my afternoon medication. Smart woman, understood boundaries, 2 weeks into recovery. My phone rang from an unknown number, answered before I realized it was Michael calling from work. Dad, thank God. I've been trying to reach you for days. We need to talk about this money situation. Hung up. Blocked that number too. Patricia drove me to a follow-up appointment with my doctor a month later. On the way back, we passed the Ford dealership where Michael worked. Saw him through the window, looked stressed, talking to some customers. Probably worried about his commission numbers dropping. Sarah's spending habits didn't slow down just because the gravy train had derailed. Want me to stop? Patricia asked. Keep driving, that evening, Emma called. Sweet kid, caught in the middle of her parents' mess. Grandpa, are you okay? Mom said you were hurt. I'm healing up fine, sweetheart. How are you doing? Okay, I guess. Mom and Dad have been fighting a lot about money and bills and stuff. Mom keeps saying it's your fault, but Dad told her it was his fault for taking advantage of you. Interesting, maybe Michael was starting to understand. Don't worry about adult stuff, Emma. Just focus on being 12. Can I come visit soon? I miss working on the Mustang. Real soon, I promise. After she hung up, I sat thinking about that conversation. Michael was starting to get it. Sarah was still blaming everyone but herself. Predictable. 3 months after the accident, Patricia mentioned she'd heard through veteran networks that they'd defaulted on the property taxes, $6,200 due unpaid. County was starting the collection process. How long before they lose the house? I asked. If they don't pay within 90 days, county can start foreclosure proceedings. Let them. Meanwhile, I'd been thinking about estate planning, called Richard Coleman, a lawyer Patricia recommended, former JAG officer, understood military mindset. Laid out the whole situation for him over coffee. You want to protect your assets from future claims, he said. Living trust is your best bet. Keeps everything out of probate, gives you complete control over distribution. I want most of it going to charity, I said. Maybe set up something for Emma when she turns 25. Michael gets nothing unless he proves he's changed, and I mean really changed. How would you measure that? Time. Actions, not words. Maybe 2 years of him supporting himself without asking me for a dime. Steady job, taking care of his daughter, showing actual responsibility. Coleman nodded. We can structure it with conditions. Measurable benchmarks. Took 2 weeks to draw up the documents. Living trust with clear terms. 80% to veterans' charities, 15% to Emma in a protected fund, 5% to Michael if he met specific conditions over 2 years. If he didn't meet them, his share went to charity too. Signed everything on a Tuesday morning. Felt like setting down a heavy pack after a long march. Month later, Michael called again. This time I answered, Dad, please, can we meet? Just talk about what? Everything? I know you're angry. You have every right to be. We met at a diner on the south side, neutral ground. Michael looked like he'd aged 5 years in 6 months. Suit wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes, hands shaking when he picked up his coffee. I'm losing the house, he said quietly. Sarah filed for divorce last week. Says she didn't sign up for being poor. He laughed. But there was no humor in it. She was right. She signed up for your money, not for me. I said nothing. Let him talk. You were right about everything, Dad. We used you, I used you, took your money, your house, your generosity, and when you needed us, we chose a vacation. His voice cracked. I chose a vacation over my father in a hospital bed. Why are you telling me this now? Because I need you to know I understand. What you did, cutting us off, you were right. I deserved it, he met my eyes. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just needed you to know I finally get it. Studied my son across that table, saw the broken pride, the genuine remorse, the hard lesson finally learned. In the Gulf, we had a saying, you don't know who someone really is until everything goes sideways. Michael was finding out who he was when the money disappeared. What are you going to do now? Start over. Sell the house, pay the debts, find a small apartment. Actually live within my means for once, he paused, and fight for joint custody of Emma. I want to be the father to her that I should have been as a son to you. Sipped my coffee, thinking. Michael had hit bottom. Question was whether he'd actually learned or was just performing for an audience. I'm not changing anything, I said. Will's staying the way it is. Maybe someday, but you'd have to prove this change is real. I understand. Emma shouldn't suffer for your mistakes. I'll set up an education fund for her. Not through you or Sarah, direct to her benefit. Tears in his eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just be better. Drove home thinking about second chances, about the difference between enabling and supporting, about what family really means when you strip away all the obligation and guilt. 6 months later, Emma came over to help with the Mustang. We got the engine running that day, perfect V8 rumble filling the garage. She was so excited she called Michael to tell him, "Grandpa got the car running. You should hear it." Through the phone, I heard Michael say he was proud of both of us. Maybe he was learning, maybe not. Time would tell, but I was done being anyone's retirement plan, done confusing generosity with love, done enabling grown adults who should know better. The Mustang runs perfect now, took 3 years and a lot of patience, but I rebuilt it right. Sometimes the best restoration work happens after everything's been stripped down to the frame. Same principle applies to family, turns out. Patricia still comes by twice a week, though I don't need full-time care anymore. We've become good friends. She understands what it means to have served, to value duty and loyalty. Last week, she mentioned that Michael had been asking around the veteran community about me, wanting to know how I was doing, but not wanting to bother me directly. What did you tell them, I asked? That you're doing fine. That you're a man who knows how to set boundaries and stick to them. Smart woman. Michael sold the house 4 months ago for $465,000. After paying off the property taxes, legal fees, and various debts he'd accumulated, he walked away with about $180,000. He bought a modest 2-bedroom apartment for $140 and put the rest in savings. First time in his adult life he'd actually owned something outright. He got joint custody of Emma. Sarah moved back in with her mother and took a job at a nail salon. Apparently, the luxury lifestyle doesn't fund itself when the bank account goes dry. Coleman called me last month with an update. Michael had been making his car payments on time, hadn't missed any child support, and had actually gotten a promotion at the dealership. His sales numbers improved once he started focusing on work instead of expecting Daddy to solve his problems. He's meeting the basic requirements, Coleman said. No contact with you for money, supporting himself, taking care of his daughter. Good for him, I said. Still got 18 months to go on his probation. Coleman chuckled. You really think he can do it? Don't know, but he's going to have to prove it just like everyone else. Emma's education fund is growing nicely. $850,000 already set aside, invested conservatively. By the time she turns 18, it should be enough for college wherever she wants to go. She won't have to depend on her parents' financial decisions or lack thereof. Last weekend, Emma came over again. We were adjusting the carburetor on the Mustang when she asked me something that caught me off guard. Grandpa, are you still mad at Dad? I thought about that while I tightened a fuel line. Mad isn't the right word, sweetheart. What is the right word? Disappointed. Your dad made choices that hurt people. But I'm not angry anymore. Just careful. Will you ever forgive him? Forgiveness isn't the issue, Emma. Trust is. Your dad has to earn that back through his actions, not his words. She nodded like she understood, even though she's only 12. Smart kid, smarter than her father was at 34. That evening, I was in my apartment looking through some old photos. Found one from Michael's high school graduation. He's standing next to me in his cap and gown, both of us grinning. I remember being so proud of him that day, thought I'd raised a good man. Maybe I did. Maybe he just lost his way for a while. The thing about rebuilding engines is you can't rush the process. Every component has to be cleaned, inspected, tested. You replace what's broken, repair what can be saved, and throw away what's beyond help. Then you put it all back together, piece by piece, with patience and precision. Family relationships work the same way, I've learned. You can't just slap some duct tape on the problem and hope for the best. Sometimes you have to strip everything down to see what's salvageable. Patricia was right when she said I'd learned to set boundaries. Military training teaches you that clear rules prevent confusion. In combat, everyone knows their job, follows orders, has each other's backs. No exceptions. Same principle applies to family. Love doesn't mean enabling. Support doesn't mean removing all consequences. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is let them face the results of their choices. Michael's learning that lesson now. The hard way, but maybe that's the only way it sticks. I still get updates on his progress through Emma and occasionally through Coleman. He's been consistently employed for 8 months now. No missed child support payments, no calls asking for money. Emma says he's different when she stays with him. More present, more responsible. Whether that continues for another 18 months remains to be seen. The trust document sits in my safe, clear terms outlined for anyone who wants to read them. 80% to veterans' charities that help people who've actually served something bigger than themselves. 15% to Emma, because she's innocent in all this. 5% to Michael, if he proves he's learned what family loyalty actually means. If he doesn't, that 5% goes to charity too. Either way, the money will end up with people who deserve it. I'm not getting any younger. At 58, I've got maybe 20 good years left if I'm lucky. I plan to spend them with people who value my time and respect my sacrifices. Life's too short to waste on folks who only call when they need something. The Mustang is running better than ever. Engine purrs like a kitten. Transmission shifts smooth as silk. All those hours of patient work, replacing worn parts, cleaning decades of buildup, getting everything back to proper specifications, worth every minute. Listen, if you're watching this and you recognize yourself in Michael's story, or maybe you see your own adult children heading down that same path, here's what I learned. Love without boundaries isn't love, it's enabling. You can't buy respect or loyalty, and trying to do so just teaches people that you're worth whatever amount you're willing to pay. Set your standards high, stick to them, and don't apologize for expecting basic decency from the people who claim to care about you. Sometimes the people who love you most need to learn the hardest lessons about what that love actually costs. If this story helped you see your situation more clearly, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what time it is where you're watching from. Thanks for listening.